What's up, Christina? This is a critique of your power clean front squat jerk that you sent me yesterday. So we're going to cruise through this. The whole lift is toesy, so I'm going to show you how your setup position leads to kind of like a domino effect, which makes everything sort of forward. I think you sort of default to being on your toes very frequently, so we got to get your hamstrings, namely your glutes, and I think your abductors, which are these muscles right here on the outside of your legs, firing more so that you can lift much better and more efficiently without having to work as hard. Something I would strongly suggest to you is doing monster walks, I call them, where you throw a band above your knees and get into like a like an active sports position. I played basketball, so I think of like a defensive stance in basketball and shuffle side to side. If you have any questions what that looks like, please ask me. I'd be glad to help. But we also got to start doing some probably some glute engagement stuff or activation stuff in your warm-ups. So yeah, let me know if you need ideas for that. Anyways, this is your start position. We have a vertical blue line here. Golden rule in weightlifting is that you try and never get a barbell to cross that vertical line. The further you get past it, the harder lift becomes because you're fighting something falling away from you. So in your start position, I think your weight is probably somewhere about here, which is pretty close to good, but I really think you should pull the barbell in a little bit closer to you. You don't have really short femurs, so your start position is going to look a bit forward, but I think you could shift it back about an inch, which would make a lot of things much easier in your lift. Thing you do really great in weightlifting so far with just coming back is you keep a pretty consistent back angle, so that line I just drew must stay pretty close to the same until you pass your knees, generally. It's just a good idea. And you do that pretty well. So we're just about to pass your knees, and it's pretty close to the same angle, which is good. But because we started toesy, you are still a bit toesy right now. As you can see, it looks like your heels are about to lift off the floor. Ideally, let's see, your legs right now. Oops, got circles still. Let's get to the line. Right now you got an angle going on something like this, which isn't bad, but it's really nice to see something more like this going on with a little bit more vertical of a shin. Allows us to get your hamstrings a little bit more involved, and just really creates a more balanced lift. Your hamstrings are involved either way, no matter what. It's unavoidable. But you're a little toesy here in this hang position, which leads you to jumping a little bit forward. The good news is all this bodybuilding you've been doing has created what seems to be a really strong upper body, because your hips travel pretty far forward, which should propel the bar forward, but this is light enough for you to pull it vertically, which is really nice. Good strong traps, which is super cool. Your feet did not move at all here from the pull to the receiving position. That's going to have to change as you get back used to weightlifting a bit more. If you're going to start doing like full cleans, your feet are going to have to transition outwards so that you can get into a clean super nicely. Like front squatting, it will be very difficult to front squat well with your feet this narrow. Next big thing I want to point out here is that you caught the barbell really low on your shoulders. That's a result of that really forward start position. Will be gone if you fix that. So you're going to have to readjust it. Let's talk about the front squat next. Because of your history with lower back issues, we really have to work on you maintaining a really consistent back angle and not tipping over. Your bottom position looks super nice here, like it a ton, but your butt instantly shoots back and your knees cave in. Alright, so this is going to cause all sorts of issues over time. The suggestions I gave to you of monster walks in the beginning of this video, you really got to throw them in, and this is why. Because your knees cave hard, your butt shoots back, so that tells me that you're like really using a ton of quads here, which is cool to have strong quads, but we really got to keep your butt kind of in line and underneath you as much as possible. So we got to get rid of that tipping over. The tipping over also creates this issue right here in your arms, where there's a ton of pressure in your arms, or a ton of responsibility in your arms to stop the barbell from falling. If you kept a more upright chest throughout your lift, it would look something a lot more like that. The barbell would more easily be racked on your on your shoulders, which should make the lift easier. So that's kind of what we're going for, if that makes any sense. Let's see how quickly I can draw a person. Woo! Alright, easy fixes here. Get rid of all this excess lines here. Okay. Okay. Next thing we got to talk about is the jerk. We are going to draw another vertical line here because you can't cross that because of that golden rule of weightlifting. Let's see if I can get a line on here. I don't know. It's really far in front. Close. Okay, cool. So we'll be able to see anyways. Alright, so when you dip, you got to dip straight down, straight up. I tell people very frequently to think about being in a closet where they wouldn't be able to travel forwards or backwards or off the plate, or else the plates would hit a wall. You're going to dip really, really long here. So let's make a note real quick. Your hips start right here, and they're going to dip very, very far to right here. You're also deep in your toes, right? So we can shorten up that dip to about 6 inches. That's probably way more, like 9 inches, 12 inches, something you just did. And we got to get you dipping through this part of your foot. Cool? So straight down, straight up, it will lead to a jerk that's right overhead. Because you dipped forward, the barbell is going to be propelled really far forward, which means you have to chase it. You have pretty good jerk footwork, I think, especially for having to chase this lift, right? This front leg is pretty close. We really want like a vertical shin here, so instead of that, we would really like your knee, or your front shin, to look like that, right? And that will be fixed by not dipping forward. Luckily, you're strong. Very easy for you to recover this lift, but once you get anywhere near maximal, it's going to become very difficult. So best of luck. We just got to get you off your toes and everything and help you find balance through the middle of your foot. Looking pretty good for your first week or so back. Ask me if you have any questions.